What if I told you that behind the bright lights of the NFL, behind the roaring stadiums and million-dollar contracts, there was a 25-year-old rising star silently fighting a battle no one could see? A young man who had everything the world dreams about: talent, fame, opportunity, and yet, in one shocking moment, it all came to a sudden, heartbreaking end. Rondale Moore wasn't just another name on a roster. He was explosive. Electric. A former standout at Purdue, a second-round draft pick, a player once considered one of the most versatile weapons in football. From the Arizona Cardinals to the Atlanta Falcons, and later signing with the Minnesota Vikings, his journey looked like it was only beginning. The smile. The confidence. The interviews where he spoke about mental strength and knowing what to expect in his second season. Nothing seemed out of place. But then, breaking news. At just 25 years old, Rondale Moore was gone. Reports confirm his death. Whispers of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No detailed explanation. No clear motive. Just silence and questions. What happened? What was going on behind closed doors? How does a young athlete at the peak of physical ability reach a point where life feels unbearable? This isn't just another sports story. This is a deeper conversation about pressure, expectations, injuries, setbacks, and the hidden struggles that even the strongest athletes can face. Because sometimes the toughest battles aren't played on the field, they're fought in the mind. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear isn't just shocking, it's a reality that's happening far more often than we think. When news like this breaks, the first reaction is shock. The second is confusion. And the third is silence. Because nobody really knows what to say when a 25-year-old athlete, once labeled as the future, is suddenly reduced to a headline. Rondale Moore's story wasn't supposed to end like this. At Purdue University, he wasn't just good, he was electric. As a freshman, he shocked the entire college football world. Defensive coordinators built game plans around stopping him, and still couldn't. He collected awards, shattered expectations, and quickly became one of the most talked about young players in the country. Scouts saw speed. Analysts saw potential. Fans saw greatness in the making. Then came draft night. The Arizona Cardinals selected him with the 49th overall pick in 2021. A second-round selection. A dream realized. Cameras flashing. Family celebrating. The journey from college phenom to NFL playmaker was officially underway. But here's what most people don't understand about the NFL. For every highlight, there are 10 unseen battles. For every touchdown celebration, there are hours of pain, pressure, and expectations that never turn off. Moore showed flashes of brilliance in Arizona. Quick screens. Explosive bursts. Yards after catch that made defenders look frozen. But injuries began creeping into the story. Small setbacks. Missed games. The kind of things fans brush off, but athletes feel deeply. Then came the trade to the Atlanta Falcons in 2024. A fresh start. A new system. Another opportunity to prove himself. But training camp injuries stopped him before he could even take the field. Imagine that. You work your entire life for moments under stadium lights, and your body won't cooperate. You watch from the sidelines while others take your reps, you rehab. You tell reporters you're staying positive. You smile on camera. But inside? That's a different story. Before the following season, Moore signed a one-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings. Another chance. Another comeback attempt. And then, another season-ending injury. 3 teams. Multiple injuries. Years of expectations. And a career that never quite exploded the way people predicted. To the public, it looks like just football. To the athlete, it can feel like identity slipping away. Because when you've been the star your whole life, the fastest kid on the field, the most explosive player in the conference, what happens when you can't play? When your name slowly fades from headlines? When critics say, "I didn't even know he was still in the league." That kind of silence can be louder than boos. Reports indicate a self-inflicted gunshot wound. No confirmed motive. No detailed explanation. Just speculation. And speculation can be dangerous. But what we do know is this: the pressure on young professional athletes today is unlike anything previous generations faced. Social media magnifies every mistake. Injuries are dissected publicly. Contracts are debated online. Fans question toughness. Strangers analyze your value as if you're a stock on the market. At 25, most people are still figuring out life. At 25, Rondale Moore had already lived a dream, and perhaps felt it slipping away. Was it depression? Was it frustration over injuries? Was it something personal that the world may never know? Right now, answers are limited. And maybe that's what makes this even more haunting. Because from the outside, he had everything. Money. Fame. Opportunity. But mental battles don't care about salary. They don't care about draft position. They don't care about how many followers you have. They hit silently. And sometimes, by the time the world notices, it's too late. This tragedy forces a bigger question: how many more young athletes are silently struggling? How many are smiling in interviews while fighting storms inside their minds? How many feel isolated despite being surrounded by teammates, coaches, and fans? The NFL is built on strength, toughness, playing through pain. But mental pain doesn't show up on injury reports. Rondale Moore's story should not end as just another breaking news segment. It should be a wake-up call, about pressure, about mental health, about the unseen weight young stars carry when the spotlight fades or injuries pile up. Because sometimes the most explosive players on the field are the ones fighting the quietest battles off it. And the most shocking part of all, and now comes the part that makes this story even heavier. Because after the headlines fade, reality sets in. Somewhere, there is a family trying to understand how a young man who once dominated college football fields is no longer here. Somewhere, old teammates are scrolling through messages, wondering if they missed a sign. Somewhere, coaches are replaying conversations in their minds, asking themselves if there was something they could have said differently. When Arizona Cardinals drafted Rondale Moore, they weren't just drafting speed, they were investing in a future. When he signed with the Minnesota Vikings, it symbolized resilience. A comeback story in the making. The kind fans love. But not every comeback makes it to the fourth quarter. The truth is brutal. Professional sports can make you feel invincible one season, and invisible the next. Injuries don't just attack the body, they attack identity. For an athlete whose entire life has revolved around performance, what happens when performance is taken away? You wake up. You rehab. You post positive updates. You tell reporters you're mentally strong. But inside, the doubts grow louder. The silence gets heavier. The fear of being forgotten creeps in. And in today's world, everything is amplified. Social media never sleeps. Critics never stop. Fans move on quickly. One day you're trending for a highlight. The next, you're barely mentioned. If reports of a self-inflicted gunshot wound are confirmed, that suggests something deeper than just football. That suggests pain. Isolation. A breaking point. And here's what makes this truly chilling. We only see the final moment. We never see the weeks, or months, leading up to it. What was he thinking the night before? Who did he talk to last? Did he try to fight through it alone? Did he believe things would never get better? We may never fully know what he was carrying in those final moments. But one thing is certain, a life full of promise ended far too soon. These are questions that echo long after the news cycle ends. At just 25 years old, life is supposed to be beginning, not ending. This isn't just a sports tragedy. It's a reminder that success doesn't protect you from struggle. Fame doesn't shield you from depression. Talent doesn't guarantee peace. And maybe the most haunting part of this entire story is this. From the outside, everything looked normal. That's what makes it terrifying. Because if someone with opportunity, contracts, and national recognition can silently fall apart, how many others are battling storms we can't see? Rondale Moore's story forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth, that mental health in professional sports is still not taken as seriously as physical injuries. A torn ACL gets immediate attention. A broken spirit often goes unnoticed. And now, instead of discussing his breakout season, we're discussing his obituary. A rising star. A dream cut short. A life that should have had decades left. And the final whistle came far too soon.